as a creative person, like, the idea is to try and do something that's creatively exciting to me, that I feel something for. And yes, very strongly, I now believe, even more so after my second film, that like I would like it to be in a zone which is like entertaining to people. But am I going to step away from the kind of films that I've made? Number 1 and 2, most certainly. I think my third film is going to be a big departure. I hope it's going to be a big departure, because I feel like I'm just getting started. You know, like, I am not at all hindered by whatever identity people have of me based on my first 2 films, because I feel like I barely have figured myself out. You know, it's the initial stages. I got a chance to start very young, and up in my room or in my life, I'm watching and reading all kinds of stuff. So I have to, like, you know, be making small indie films, and I have to make like bloody the Star Wars of India, and I want to do a lot of stuff, everything.
A lot of assortment.
Like a lot of stuff, you know.
Brahmastra, Hindi cinema's most anticipated and ambitious project. It made rounds online for its background being inspired by Hindu traditional texts and Indian ancient writings. As Ayan Mukerji claimed in his vision of Brahmastra, the movie finds its roots in the Indian ancient texts that tell the concept of Astras. So, how Brahmastra delivered itself, we will know about that. This video is divided into 3 parts. The first will focus on explaining the background of the movie, the second on reviewing the movie, and at the end, giving a brief viewpoint on Rumi's connection with Brahmastra. According to wisdomlib.org, any Astra is a weapon charmed by the recitation over it of some mystic formula or mantra. In more a descriptive way, Wikipedia explains that Astra is a supernatural weapon invoked by mantras to summon the energy of a specific deity. This energy can be channeled into any object, which can then be used as a weapon. These weapons are imbued with spiritual and occult powers. Astras, which we in the modern era consider as physical weapons, like a ranged one or melee, Hindu texts mention the energy in any form as a weapon or astra. By that logic, if you think about it, things such as metal and wood have energy, animals such as monkeys and birds have energy, and elements such as wind, fire and others are the energy of nature in themselves. Any of these can be used as astra. As per the images that exist of gods popularly, Hindu gods can be seen having possession of so many astras themselves at once. Lord Brahma doesn't carry any weapons in his hands but rather symbols of wisdom, creation and knowledge such as pushpa, lotus, prayer beads, copies of Hindu Vedas and a kamandalu water pot. Lord Vishnu carrying Sudarshan Chakra, celestial disc in one hand and Komoduki named Gada, mace in the other. And in the other 2, he holds a Shankh, Conch, and in the other he holds Padma, lotus. It is believed that he also holds his sword named Khadga in a different hand and has 8 or even 16 hands. Lord Shiva carries trident Trishul in one hand, sometimes with hourglass drum Damru tied to the trident and sometimes separately in a hand. Yogesh Nadam, his Shankh, Conch, prayer beads, Kamandalu water pot resting aside, the second serpent king of Hinduism Vasuki swirled around his neck, and also a moon crown named Chandramoli on the top of the hair bun, along with tiger skin on which he is sitting. Lord Shiva is equipped with so many objects, he is phenomenal. I personally find the Ardhanarishwar concept the most interesting since the moment I discovered it and feel connected to its imagery and symbolism a lot. Moving on. Astras in ancient Indian texts are weapons in various forms and energies, and there are around 50 astras or maybe more. Every astra is used by someone who has been either rewarded with an astra or passed on as Guru Shishya tradition. Guru Shishya tradition involves the passing on the teachings of mantra to possess astras. Mantra is one method through which different mortals, gods, incarnations of the gods, and individuals have used astras in different yugas, which means generations. Most often you will find that the effect of astras is vain because either the host has been granted with a boon or the Astra is countered with another Astra. There are different Astras with their own distinct nature and qualities. Pashupat Astra is capable of killing hosts, regardless of their nature, and can be granted by Lord Shiva only. Narayana Astra showers arrows and discs upon its targets and is absolutely unstoppable. It is said that it can be stopped only by surrender, as the opposite only increases the intensity of the shower. Narayana Astra can only be granted by Lord Vishnu. Then comes Brahmastra, the most powerful Astra in the whole Hindu text explaining the concept of Astras. Brahmastra is almost the same as a nuclear weapon that leaves no one behind and completely wipes out its target. A total destruction weapon created by the creator Lord Brahma, but having access to very few. There is a variation of Brahmastra named Brahmashisha Astra, and it's believed that it is far more powerful than Brahmastra, as even after it has done its damage, it is said that the land it damages becomes infertile and not even grass grows upon it. I found another variant of Brahmastra coming up named Brahmanda Astra, which was the least talked about in the articles. This Astra is the most powerful among all the three and is capable of destroying the entire universe in the blink of an eye, and can even draw out the effect of all weapons, making it the most powerful Astra. I found that there is a contradiction between the destruction level of Brahmastra and its successors and its variants. At one point, I found that Brahmastra is the most powerful Astra. At the other times, I found Brahmashish Astra or Brahmanda Astra to be the most powerful, but one thing is clear. All are the same kind of Astras created by the same creator and are devastating in nature. Life will continue the next time cycle after they have out from these Astras. Whether it is Astras, Hindu philosophies as a whole, or the study of time and its relation with life, all parallels can be seen with the already existing media projects in Hollywood, a film industry that we look up to more than any other film industry in the world. Our Hindu ancient texts talk about so many different kinds of Astras that we can see in Hollywood movies and different mediums other than the movies also. Ravan's Chandrahas given by Lord Shiva resembles the look of the sword of the enlightened warrior from the Prince of Persia video game franchise. Varun Astra can bring big torrents of water like how waterbenders in Avatar The Last Airbender can do. The Astradhari of Varun Astra, the god of water, Varun's main weapon is a noose, appearing like a lasso. That is the main weapon of whiskey, played by Pedro Pascal in Kingsman The Golden Circle. Lord Shiva's moon crown, named Chandramouli, resembles the primary weapon of Marvel's character Moon Knight, named Crescent Darts. Parshuram's Parshu Astra, given by Lord Shiva, resembles Stormbreaker of Marvel's Thor, and having been said Thor, it is well known that Thor's lightning attack is very similar to and resembles the power of Vajra weapon of the king of godlike deities Indra. Other than Astras, the concept of the multiverse that we know from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is believed to be existing in the Indian ancient epic Ramayana, or the existence of Lord Hanuman in Indian ancient writings resemble the existence of Monkey King in Chinese mythology. Monkey King is, in fact, inspired by the Hindu god Hanuman from Indian mythology and the ancient epic Ramayana. According to some Hindu beliefs, the immortals of previous yugas, generations, such as Hanuman or Ashwatthama, are still roaming the planet Earth in disguise. Something of the same tangent that I discovered in a very rare and underrated movie, The Man from Earth. I don't claim that all the names I mentioned are inspired by the Indian mythology and Indian ancient texts, except for the Monkey King only. There are similarities and parallels in Indian ancient texts with other cultures' mythologies. There is a purpose that all of the mythologies, ancient texts, or whatever we prefer or want to call it, serve to the people on this planet at large. The stories of Thor in Marvel movies are actually adaptations from Marvel comics, and the comics are inspired by Norse mythology. You will be surprised to know that the present Thor should have been already dead in Thor Ragnarok, released in 2017. Ragnarok in Norse mythology is a similar parallel to Pralay, apocalypse, in Hindu mythology. In Ragnarok, Thor dies fighting the great giant, the Midgard serpent named Jormungandr. Jormungandr has also appeared in the God of War video game franchise, known well to adapt Greek mythologies really perfectly and gave Greek mythologies a worthy highlight among the world through the medium of video games. You can draw the parallels of even mythologies themselves, which I found on Hinduism.stackexchange.com by a user stating that the Ragnarok is a similar parallel to Pralay, and the cyclic timeline is similar to Hindu concept of yugas, although their timelines are not divided into four halves of decreasing harmony, order, righteousness, dharma in short. The different places of death may be similar to the destination of a person in Hinduism, according to his deeds, either going to Narak or Chandraloka or even Vaikunt. In Norse religion, I won't call it mythology, Odin's Hall Valhalla is considered to be the highest honor one can get, and once they are reborn, they can carry out their duties in Midgard, Earth again. The answer also states that Norse is similar to Purans, wherein many episodes of gods and heroes are mentioned, and the characters have a similar theme, righteous versus unrighteous. While we have races in Hindu mythology, Devas, Danavas, Asuras, Rakshasas, the Norse too had their own, Aesir, Vanir, Jotun, etc. The Norse mythology blog mentions it took interviews with two Indian comparative mythologists in Mumbai, India. The mythologists describe parallels between Norse mythology and Hindu mythology in brief detail, giving one of the first examples of Thor and Indra. It went on to represent a parallel of the similarities between the starting lines in both works of Old Norse, Voluspa, and Sanskrit's Nasadiya Sukta. Voluspa described the time before the world was created by stating that there was no sand nor sea, nor chill waves, nor earth to be found, nor high heaven, a gulf of gaping void, and grass was nowhere. Nasadiya Sukta describes the same thing by stating that there was neither non-existence nor existence, no realm of air nor sky beyond. There was no death then nor immortality. There was no sign of night nor of day. The blog explains that in both the Icelandic and Indian texts, the idea of the text is drawing similar lines and tones about how the world was created by simply explaining that everything that is created, both myths tells us, is made from what came before. More importantly, the blog points out that mythologies answer the question of the interviewer on multimedia adaptations of these ancient texts. It states that India has adapted great epics such as Mahabharata, which is almost like a tradition now. However, they state that there is no such thing as a faithful adaptation or serious adaptation in their precise words of the Norse. Instead, they have comics and movies such as Marvel Comics and Marvel Studios that create fiction tales around the same values and scenarios. But that doesn't mean the mythologists despise these creations. They love all of them and found immense joy in each creative work around these texts. This is where my conclusion about this section is. In India, we have many adaptations of epics such as Mahabharata or Ramayana, retelling them in different formats and mediums, whether it's a movie, animation, or a whole show. Personally, my favorite has been the animated movie named The Shavtar, and there's no denying that I, like many others, simply enjoy these stories and find moral values among them as per one's interpretation. But in the process of retelling these stories, we have never sparked some imaginative and innovative idea to create a fictional world around it, to imagine what if these same scenarios and concepts will happen again in the future in a modern setting. While we love fictional stories of the Marvel Cinematic Universe or DCEU Cinematic Universe, we have never gotten the chance to see something like this on our Indian grounds, something we can proudly call our own cinematic universe and enjoy as much as we do with Hollywood movies. I'm not drawing a line between Hollywood and Bollywood or any other film industry. I'm simply saying that our Indian film industry is regarded as one of the greatest film industries in the world, majorly in terms of quantitativeness. But now with the growing popularity of different multimedia works, it's high time the industry should take itself to the next level by engaging its young audience that loves the same Marvel movies to love our Indian movies too, by introducing the concepts which we all are looking for right now. Ayan Mukerji did this task by introducing Astraverse, the first cinematic universe of India.